Well, hello, welcome again to our reading of Theocritus, Idyll 7, the Galizia. I got up to line 42. And Lychidas has invited Lychidas to join in to have a bucolic contest, to sing a pastoral song in competition. He's just finished his speech and he says, Hos ephaman epidates. This is main here, alpha for eta here. The hos, as you see with the accent, probably thus or in this way. So I said this, and then funny expression here, epidates means on purpose. Now exactly what that means I'll leave the commentators to debate, but it's literally thus I said this thing, I said this on purpose. Horiaipolos apu for Hadu for hairdo, gelasas. So another participle here. So but the goat herd, this is Lychidas, was laughing sweetly. Adverb here from Hedus. Tan toi epha korunan dorutamai. Now this is a verb. You can see the do root here of giving. This would be it's a verb of giving. It's the present tense, and the tan goes with the tan for tain, alpha for eta, and the korunan for korunain. This is this club that he mentioned before that's made from the wild olive. Fa for fa. So, but he said, I am giving this tan, this club, soy, toy for soy, to you. Huniken, often equivalent to, well, it is equivalent to henica, and often has that meaning of haughty, as you get often in Homer as well. So because, esse, second person from the verb to be, you are. Now the next line is slightly complicated and probably heavily ironic in meaning. Again, I'll leave the commentators to discuss it further, but the pan, I'm going to translate, is in every way. It may go with the ageanos, which is neuter at the end. You could also take it adverbially here, in every way. Peplasmenon is from plasso. We get our word plastic derived from this. It means fashioned. It can have the sense of fabricated, but in an ironic sense. So it can mean fabricated in the sense of made up. It's got various overtones in Greek. So possible irony here in the sense that Lychidas is merely feigning to speak the truth, as we'll see. So and the aletheia for aletheia, this is the truth. So it's literally in every way. So because you are in every way an urnos, this is a young plant, fashioned or perhaps fabricated by Zeus, ep aletheia, with a view to the truth, or perhaps in regard to the truth, or you are merely feigning. It could also mean you are really feigning to speak the truth, or pretending to, but it's literally in the Greek, in every way you are a young plant fashioned by Zeus with a view to the truth. Hos moi kai tekton meg apekthetai hostis erune. Thus, so again we've got, now moi is enclitic, so that's why the accent's here as well. So perhaps the hos here is since. Tekton is a builder, or someone who constructs things. We get our word technical and all that sort of thing from this. So a tekton is a builder. The mega here is probably adverbial, greatly, and the apekthetai is a passive here, hated. So since a builder is hated greatly also by me, any builder, hostis, who erune, who seeks. Then we've got an infinitive here, telesai, to complete or to make, or perhaps to bring to completion, a domon, a house, and then isos takes a dative, so it's going with the korufar here, and aureus is a genitive. It would be aureos and then contracted as third declension noun here. So it's, and this is a name here of Eurymedon. This is a mountain. So it's literally there, so since a builder is greatly hated also by me, who seeks to build or complete a house like to the peak of a mountain, or sorry, the peak of the mountain Eurymedon. Now, Mount Eurymedon, generally identified with Mount Diccio, which is the highest mountain in Kos, and it would have been visible to this group as they're walking along. And this is probably a dig at Apollonius of Rhodes. There was a debate during the amongst Hellenistic poets as to whether one should try and write an epic in the style of Homer. Apollonius of Rhodes, of course, writes the Ageanautica, which, although is not as long, of course, it is an epic in the style of Homer, and other writers, contemporary writers such as Callimachus, railed against such writings, and so this is probably some kind of vague reference to this here. So he hates a great builder who seeks to complete a house like to the peak of Mount Eurymedon, and those ornikes, from ornis, a bird, so those birds, moison of the muses. This is a genitive plural here, the an for own. As many as, now, mokthid zonti, mokthid zeusi, it's the third person plural, as many as who labour, you probably know the root mokthos of labour, so this is the verb mokthizdo here, etosia in vain. Kokudzontes is a participle, kokuzdo is to crow, it's probably an onomatopoetic word, so crowing, opposite, antia, poti kion oidon, literally poti for pros, so against the Chian singer, against the Chian bard, and this of course is a reference to Homer. So he also hates those birds of the muses, as many as labour in vain, crowing opposite against the Chian bard. Al-aget bucolikas takios axometh oidas. Hortatory subjunctive here, so let us make a beginning quickly, but come, let us begin quickly, and then make a beginning of our pastoral song. O Simikidas, this is vocative here. Kago for kai ego and I. Now we get a men and we don't get the corresponding de because he breaks off in the sense here. So he begins by saying and I. Look here, this is imperative here. Look here, dear friend. See my friend. If now the toot goes with the top meludrion. Meludrion is a diminutive from melos, meaning a song. So see if this little song, now the hot tea is probably for hot tea separated, the one which, the word order is slightly odd here, exeponasa, this is from ekponio, to complete or to work over, so perhaps composed here. So which I composed, pran for proane, contracted, pran for proane, meaning the other day. You could translate it perhaps just of late. So which I composed of late en ore on the mountain, see if it, aresque toi, is pleasing to you. So putting all that together, so but I, and then he says, look here, my friend, if this little song, which just the other day, or of late, I composed on the mountain, see if it is pleasing toy for soif to you. Now we now have a poem within a poem, and this happens quite a bit in Theocritus. And so lines 52 to 95, Lychidas prays for a fair journey for his lover Ageanax. Now, such a piece is, and there are other examples of this in Greek poetry, such a piece is referred to as a propemptikon. It's a poem that invokes or calls for good weather for someone as they're travelling. It sends them on their way. Now the idea here seems to be that Lychidas is madly in love with Ageanax, but that by leaving, Ageanax will lessen Lychidas's desire for him. And then on the day when Lychidas learns of Ageanax's safe arrival there, he will sit and drink and relax, and he also tells this story of Daphnis, or the stories of Daphnis and Comatus that we'll get to a bit later. So it's a beautiful little poem within a poem here. Esetai Ageanacti kalos plos ek mitalenen. Esetai, from future from Amy, so there will be a kalos plotos, a beautiful voyage for Ageanax into Mytilene. Kotan for Kai Hotan, which itself is hoti plus an, and whenever. Now the F hesperois eriphois is slightly difficult. It's when the kids are in the eastern sky. So it's almost at the time of the kids in the eastern sky. So when the kids are in the eastern sky, this is a constellation here of the kids. So whenever at the time when the kids are in the eastern sky, Notos is the south wind. Dioke, subjunctive after the hotan. Dioko means to pursue, persecute, chase after, probably chase here, almost drives. The hugra kumata, literally the wet waves. This is again very poetic here. You do get, in Homer you get hugra used of the waves, so this is fairly Homeric here. So at the time when the kids are in the eastern sky, the south wind chases after the wet waves. Now the chorion here is Chi plus capital Omega Orion. So Chi plus Orion. This is another constellation, of course, and these constellations are connected with sailing weather, either good or bad. And so hoti, and when Orion literally holds his feet on the ocean, so perhaps stands on the ocean, so places his feet on the ocean. Now A, this is dialect for epsilon iota, it's the A. So if and the ka for ke, which is used for an. So in Homer you get ke or ken, Attic you get an. This is just that little particle that's used with the subjunctive here. So if Rusatai, he might save, he might rescue Lychidas, that is the one who's singing the song, who is being optuomenon, passive here from optuo, is being roasted ex Aphroditas at the hands of Aphrodite. because Lychidas is in love, and so by going away, Ageanax will in fact rescue Lychidas, who is being roasted at the hands of Aphrodite. Thermos ga eros autou me kataithe. 4. Thermos eros, a boiling love, burning love, literally hot love. Autou for autou, for him. Kataithe, burns me completely. It's that kata plus the itheo. So itho, it burns me completely. So we might say passionate love for him burns me completely. Now there's another chi here plus halcyones, so it's chi plus halcyones. These are the halcyons, the kingfishers. It's a bird. And the halcyons, the kingfishers. Storesunti is a future from stornumi or storenumi. It means to make the bed, but it means to fold down or pat down the bedclothes, and hence here it just means to calm. So the halcyons will calm Tarkumata, the waves and the thalasan and the sea. Ton de noton, ton de huron, and the notos was the south wind, and the euros is the east wind. Hos, which kine from kineo, which drives or perhaps almost drives, or perhaps stirs up from kineo here, stirs up the fukia. This is the seaweed. Escata, possibly the deepest seaweed, might be one meaning. Others think it means possibly which marked the edge of the sea. You generally get seaweed near the shore, but possibly just meaning the deepest here, in the lowest depths. So which stirs up the seaweed in the lowest depths. And then we get halcyones, the halcyons. Now this is very Homeric. Homer often does this, where he will introduce something, say a little bit about it, and then repeat the name and say more. And so this is a very Homeric thing to do here in this structure. So, and the halcyons will calm the waves and the sea and the south wind and the east wind. The east wind which stirs up the seaweed at the lowest depths. The halcyons, glaukais ne reisi te tai te malista ornikon ephilathen. Hosois te per ex halos agra. So the halcyons, those, now this is, sorry, it's who really, it's a relative pronoun tie for high here. So who most of all, ephilathen, this again is quite Homeric, it's the then ending for thesan, it's a third person passive, not second, not plural, not singular. So, who are loved most of all, or nikon among the birds, by the glaukais nerisi, so by the grey-green or green nereids. So the halcyons, the very ones who also are loved most of all among the birds by the green nereids. Hosois, hosois te and, so they're loved by the nereids, but they're also loved by as many as understand, get their agra, their catch from the sea. So as many as for whom their catch is from the sea, i.e. it's referring to fishermen. So all those whose catch comes from the sea, ex halos. Halos is salt, but it's often used of the sea, the salt sea. Ageanax diploon ditsemeno es mutalinan aurea pantagenoito kai plus hormone hikoito. So we get an octative of wish here, so, and the subject I think is panta, neuter plural singular verb. So may all things be aurea, favourable. This is aureos as an adjective. So may all things be favourable for Ageanax, who is seeking a voyage into Mytilene. So this is a verb ditsemai, to seek. So may all things be favourable to Ageanax, who is seeking a voyage into Mytilene. Kai euploos, now this is nominative, so it's slightly hard to get into English. So he, being having experienced a good voyage, hikoito, again optative from hikneomai, may he come to Hormos, is an anchorage or harbour or haven. So it's something like, and may he come to anchorage, he, after having had a good voyage, a euploos. And I'll continue this poem in the next recording.